You know, space locks are hitting our planet all the time. Seriously, constantly. Most of them are no bigger than a grain of sand, and they just burn up in the atmosphere as a pretty little shooting star. But every now and then, a visitor shows up with something a lot more serious in mind. We're talking about a rock that can wipe a city clean off the map, or, even worse, completely reset the course of life on this planet. So let's see what happens when the five absolute worst of them decide to show up all at the same time. Yeah, we all know this story, right? It's the big one. The day a literal mountain fell out of the sky and the age of the dinosaurs came to a very, very fiery end. That single impact changed everything. It's the ultimate benchmark for a really, really bad day on planet Earth. So, what if we took that one world-ending event and we multiplied it? What if five of the most devastating rocks we know of, from the ancient past to ones that could threaten us tomorrow, all hit the Earth at the exact same moment? Well, we're about to run that simulation. And spoiler alert, in this scenario, Earth is definitely on the losing side. Okay, so our apocalyptic day begins with the smallest of our five cosmic bullies. But trust me, small is a very dangerous word here. We're going back 50,000 years. The planet's in an ice age, and this big, dense chunk of iron and nickel, the very same one that punched out Meteor Crater in Arizona, is about to make its grand, violent entrance. This thing was about 50 meters across. To put that in perspective, that's roughly the width of a football field. It had a nice, quiet journey for millions of years, just minding its own business in the asteroid belt. And then its path crossed ours. It just screamed into the atmosphere over what's now Arizona, moving at a mind-boggling 15 kilometers per second. So what would that look like today? Well, total, absolute destruction. This 300,000-ton bullet would shatter glass for miles around. The impact itself would kick off a magnitude 7.5 earthquake, just shaking everything to pieces. The blast wave would deafen you, and the heat? Oh, the heat would just fry you instantly. So no, not a world ender, but for anyone in that city, it would be the end of their world, for sure. So while Arizona is dealing with its brand new smoking crater, our simulation is already launching its second attack, this time aimed right at South America. This one is called 2024 YR4, and it's a real near-Earth asteroid that gave astronomers a serious scare when they first found it, because their first calculations showed a terrifyingly high chance of it actually hitting us. YR4 is a little bigger, about 60 meters in diameter, so think about the wingspan of a jumbo jet. Now, what makes a rock this size so dangerous is what it does in the atmosphere. The insane pressure and heat of entry would cause it to just disintegrate violently before it even hits the ground. It would trigger this catastrophic explosion in mid-air. Now, imagine that happening over Bogota, a city with 7 million people. The sky would light up like the sun just decided to get up close and personal. And then comes the airburst, this massive, deadly firework. The shockwave would just rip through the city, tearing buildings apart and tossing cars around like they're nothing. The result? A massive, burned, flattened zone. The day the Earth was literally scorched. Okay, so it's not all doom and gloom. In the real world, anyway. It's important to know that if we spotted something like YR4 with enough warning, we wouldn't be totally helpless. Planetary defense is a very real thing. In fact, NASA's DART mission proved we can actually change an asteroid's path by, well, crashing a spaceship into it. It's like a game of cosmic billiards, where a tiny nudge years ahead of time can be the difference between a direct hit and a near miss. It's a comforting thought, but it offers zero comfort in our little simulation here. And just when you thought South America had suffered enough, another strike is on the way. This one is special. Oumuamua. It was the very first object we ever saw visit our solar system from interstellar space. And it was weird. I mean, really weird. Scientists even called it cigar-shaped. It was like 10 times longer than it was wide. Yeah, scientists are still scratching their heads over Oumuamua. See, it sped up as it moved away from the sun, which usually means it's a comet releasing gas, creating a tail. But here's the thing. Oumuamua had no tail. None. So the theories started flying. Was it a chunk of nitrogen ice from a planet like Pluto, a new kind of hydrogen comet? Or, and this is the controversial one, was it made by someone else? For our simulation, it doesn't matter where it came from. All that matters is where it's going. As it slams into the Amazon, it carves a 4-kilometer-wide scar into the Earth. The shockwave just explodes outwards, snapping ancient trees like they're toothpicks. The world's green lung is now just a smoldering ring of brown and black. For days, the sky over the entire continent would be dark with ash. It would literally be snowing charcoal. Okay, we're not quite at full extinction level just yet, but believe me, we are getting there. Because now the big celebrity herself makes an appearance over Mexico. And this isn't just a rock, this is a mountain falling from space. This is Chicxulub. To get your head around the scale here, the Chicxulub impactor was a staggering 10 kilometers. That's over 6 miles wide. Think about that. Take Mount Everest, the highest point on our entire planet, and just drop it from space. That's what we're talking about. This is the architect of a mass extinction. And in our scenario, it's about to do it all over again. The impact is just instantaneous. A magnitude 10 earthquake shakes the entire planet to its core. Coastal cities like Cancun are just gone, vaporized into white-hot ash. Within hours, walls of water over 300 feet high are roaring across the Gulf of Mexico, slamming into Florida, into Central America, and less than 2 days later, those same tsunamis reach all the way to Australia. But as unbelievably devastating as that initial blast is, the real killer is what comes next. All that energy vaporizes tons of rock and shoots it high into the atmosphere, creating this global blanket of dust and soot. This is the impact winter. The sun is blocked out, temperatures plummet, and plants can no longer photosynthesize. The very foundation of the global food chain just crumbles, leading to mass starvation and the collapse of pretty much every ecosystem on Earth. So yeah, that was devastating. We might recover from the smaller impacts, but Chicxulub, that's not looking good for humanity. But wait, it gets so much worse. We're now going back 3.3 billion years to a much younger primordial Earth for the biggest impact of them all. Our final impactor is a rock we call S2, and this just shows you the insane scale we're dealing with. S2 was 200 times more massive than the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. Let that sink in, 200 times. When S2 hit, it didn't just make a crater, it tore the entire seafloor apart. A fireball the size of a continent erupted into the sky. Earthquakes 100 times stronger than anything we've ever recorded ripped across the globe. The top layers of the oceans literally boiled away into space. This isn't an impact. This is a planetary reset button. And with Chicxulub already plunging the world into an icy darkness, this S2 impact is just the final nail in the coffin. There's no coming back from this. There's no hiding, no post-apocalyptic survival scenario. It's just game over for every single one of us. This 5-punch catastrophe would be a hard reset for planet Earth. Our entire civilization, everything we've ever built, would be erased without a trace. But here's the thing to remember. The planet itself has been through this before. Life, in some form, actually survived that S2 impact and eventually thrived again. So the final question isn't about whether we would survive, because we wouldn't. The real question is, in the millions of years that follow, after the skies finally clear and the oceans cool down, what new forms of life would rise up to inherit a world that's been scrubbed clean of us? What would Earth become in our absence?